with RELL Seas getting closer and closer, there is one problem that can potentially sabotage or even ruin the game when it comes out, and it's the RELL Brothers adding content from other animes. You see, despite the RELL Brothers being really good developers, they have had a really bad habit of adding other content from other animes into their games. So we've seen some sneak peeks or RELL Seas so far that's shown weapons and some other stuff from other animes, and I don't know how to feel about it, to be honest, because on one hand it's like it's cool to have stuff from other animes where you can kind of put it in the game and try it out, and it's interesting, but at the same time, I feel like it kind of ruins the immersion for the game, right? Because when you're making a game that's supposed to focus on One Piece, it doesn't really make any sense to add stuff on other animes that isn't, directly about One Piece or something like that. When you're adding stuff that doesn't really correlate to the game, what's supposed to be, it just doesn't really make any sense. It can kind of ruin the experience for a lot of players, because why are you going to play a game that isn't really 100% a One Piece type of game, or isn't just 100% focused on being what it's supposed to be? So, when you have stuff from other animes and you see it in the game, it's like kind of, you know what I'm saying? So, they did this with another game as well, their biggest game for a long time now, Shindo Life. So the issue with Shindo Life for a while now has been the fact that it takes too many stuff from too many different animes, and it kind of ruins the feeling for it as a, Naruto game. If you play the game, it doesn't really feel like a Naruto game that much, but the amount of bloodlines that are not even related to Naruto or anything like that, it's just mainly based on a bunch of different animes kind of, brought together. So it ruins the feeling for the game. It doesn't even feel like a Naruto game. It feels like some type of, mixed anime type of game or something like that. It doesn't feel like 100% Naruto game. It ruins the feeling for, most players. And when it comes to RELL Seas, right, I'm kind of afraid that with the RELL Brothers, right, they've always kind of done a thing where they keep adding stuff from other animes over time because, they want to try different things out. They want to be more creative with their game. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'll have no issue, being creative, but it comes at a cost when you're kind of, abandoning what the game's supposed to be, and you kind of go in a different direction from what the game's supposed to be, right? So they did that with Shindo Life, and I didn't really like that, because when you have a game that's supposed to be 100% focused on Naruto, right, you don't want to really stray away from that, because you end up, abandoning a big part of your audience, because most people are playing Shindo Life for Naruto. Like that's what they're mostly focused on. That's what the game's supposed to be for, Naruto. So when you have stuff from other animes in the game, weapons, clothing, stuff like that, bloodlines, it doesn't really make it feel like a Naruto game. It feels like just any other mixed anime type of game that, just has a bunch of different animes put together, their content and everything like that. So I don't feel like it's a good idea to start adding stuff from other animes. I could just be completely overreacting, I'm just kind of worried about it, because at the end of the day, when it comes to the RELL Brothers, they've always had a thing where they're really creative what they want to do in their games, right? They really want to do as much as possible. They really want to be creative with what they're doing. So when you have developers who really want to take things to the next level, they can kind of end up doing stuff that could potentially ruin their game. And I feel like with RELL Seas, that could potentially happen if they're not careful with how they add stuff to the game. Because with One Piece, right, it has enough content to where they don't need to add any more content from any other anime games, because One Piece has enough content spanning over 1,000 episodes to where they shouldn't run out of ideas. They should be fine in terms of, creativity, what they can update the game with. They should be 100% fine. But with Shindo Life, they ran out of ideas, because when it comes to a Naruto game compared to a One Piece game, Naruto games has significantly less content because it's a way shorter anime, so you can't really add that much into the games compared to a One Piece game where the anime, it has so much to where you shouldn't even be able to run out of ideas, bro. You should be fine. Like, you should be 100% fine. So I don't really get why they would have to add any more stuff into this game in terms of other animes, because they should be fine. Like, One Piece has enough content. They won't have to run out of ideas like when it came to Shindo Life. Shindo Life ended up kind of, becoming a lot worse because they ran out of ideas. They didn't have anything else to add to the game in terms of Naruto content, but they added everything they could. At the end of the day, there's not much they could really do with that game. But with this game, right, they should be 100% fine, I feel like, with RELL Seas, because they have enough content with One Piece. This is a way easier game to work with in terms of content, because when you have an anime with that much stuff you can put into it, there's just so much things you can explore. There's a lot more creativity stuff you can really do in this game. It should be 100% fine in my opinion, but you never know, because the RELL Brothers, they always want to try something new. They always want to be more experimental with their games and stuff like that. So you don't know what they might do in the game. So that's the biggest issue, and that's kind of the biggest problem I see with the game right now, because you don't know what's going to happen, right? I don't know what the hell is going to happen when the game comes out, and if it can happen with these updates. And even on the side note of updates as well, I don't think they should be updating this game weekly, because with Shindo Life, they kept doing the thing where they updated the game weekly, and I feel like that really ended up killing the game a little bit, because when you're adding weekly updates to a game, you start to run out of stuff you can add into the game eventually. But why are you adding so much stuff on one update weekly? It just doesn't make any sense, right? And you end up sabotaging yourself in terms of what you can add into the game. Because with Shindo, it ended up running out of ideas completely. Like, they had to try, adding stuff on other animes because of that. They had no more ideas because they kept adding stuff weekly every single week. I don't like that at all. they have to kind of revise how they're gonna do it with RELL Seas. But all they have to do with RELL Seas is do like, you know, maybe monthly updates or maybe like 2 to 3 week updates. I feel like that makes more sense than a weekly update. At the end of the day, you don't want to end up running out of ideas or running out of, you know, creativity when it comes to the game. And you end up having to add stuff from other animes that could end up ruining the game eventually. I do feel like the RELL brothers would have learned from their mistake from Shindo Life and, you know, focus more on the content that relates to the main anime you're focusing on, rather than trying to branch over to other animes and, you know, try to add stuff from the other animes that could potentially, you know, just ruin the experience for everyone, in my opinion. That's what I'm saying the whole time, is that it might just end up ruining the experience for everyone. So I just believe that staying specifically on the anime you're focusing on rather than trying to branch out, it makes more sense. And ultimately, I feel like they would have learned from Shindo Life. The reason why Shindo Life's numbers, it dropped a lot more, is because they tried to focus on other animes rather than, you know, just focus on Naruto. Like, just make sure you maximize the Naruto content. And, you know, the update mistakes they made with the game as well, that ultimately made the game, you know, slowly start losing numbers over time. So they all do a lot better job in terms of, you know, RELL Seas rather than what they do with Shindo Life. And I'm just hoping to see the game succeed. I don't want the game to fail. I really like the game from what I've seen so far. So it just comes down to them being more tentative and having more experience to make sure the updates are on point, because this is how Block Series has lasted for so long. They do specific updates at specific times and, you know, specific dates and stuff like that, rather than trying to do weekly updates that isn't really sustainable at all. Making sure the updates are on point, as well as just staying on One Piece specifically, because this is how, you know, you're gonna maximize the players. Because if you're making, you know, if you're focusing on mainly that One Piece audience, One Piece Roblox audience, you have to make sure you don't branch away that much. Or if you're gonna do it, at least make it minimal. If you end up doing too much, potentially you can lose some players. I just feel like it's the biggest issue that might happen. So, you know, ultimately, I believe the game should be fine, but I'm just hoping they don't really go too far in terms of adding too much, because that's just the biggest scare for everyone, really, because that's what happened in Shindo Life. They added way too much and now look what happened. So, you know, yeah, that's just my opinion. And yeah, with that being said, peace.